This video is for the person who trusted a business partner, who got lied to, stolen from, and who was left holding the bag. Maybe your partner emptied the bank account. Maybe your partner ran off with clients. Maybe your business partner left you in debt and with lots of shame. Before you decide that this is your end, I want you to hear my story. I want to give you a moment to listen to why I created the MAR. After a career as an educator, I was a school teacher for more than 18 years. I left teaching and I established an education company where I provided tutoring for students in SAT, grade recovery, and even college application help. I was even helping students gain scholarship by completing their scholarship application. I did that for over 10 years. We served over 1,000 students. I employed more than 35 tutors in the course of the 10 years. I made millions of dollars in income. And then I decided to ask one of my former clients to help my wife improve her sales closing rate. I worked with my wife and there were some frictions when I tried to train her. I've been doing sales for a very long time. I accidentally got into sales. What I didn't know was selling became selling, and I was able to effectively grow a very thriving business. But my wife was the manager of the office. And since she needed to improve her closing rate, there was a parent who I worked with her son in the 5th grade, and then in the 7th grade, and then in the 8th grade, and then again in high school. So I thought, because of how long I had worked with this particular client, and for the amount of time she came back, I thought she was a friend. So I brought her in and asked her to help my wife and I run the office. 6 months later, she ran off with over $70,000. I started the litigation process and spent an additional $25,000 in attorney fees, 24 months in litigation, all the way up to Maryland Court of Special Appeals, to be told all the way up there, okay, you need to go back down to the district court and start over again. The starting over, I chose which one was that. It was not going to be another $25,000. It was not going to be another months and months of litigation. This time, I started over on my terms. At that time, we were in the middle of buying a house when this entire thing fell apart. We were renting. I was kicked out of the office where I lived. I was kicked out of where I lived. My son, who was at college, was kicked out of college. My kids who were in Montgomery County were kicked out of school. It was devastating. I'm not trying to drown you with the details of my saga. I wanted to share with you what I did that get me out of where I was. For a brief period, about 2 months, I stayed in my friend's basement, my wife and my 4 sons. We stayed in a small space. During that period, I got myself back together. I had lost my identity. I had lost my sense of confidence. I was the same guy who launched a product at Whole Foods stores, started and ran a radio program on 18 radio stations, built a thriving tutoring company. I was that same guy. But with the emotional toll of this entire saga, my head was in the wrong place. I was overwhelmed. I felt the failure. I felt defeat. I felt the weight. It was trauma at every point. I'm not trying to make it sound as though this is a therapy session. I wanted to share with you what I did. while sleeping on that floor, whilst in that friend's basement, whilst there with my family huddled together. Because I only had two agendas. Number one, regain myself. And number two, rebuild my life. I did that. I did both of them. I started in that basement. You see, another friend, Tammy, called me for help one day when her basement flooded. And a little skill that I had learned when I was in undergraduate school, where I worked in maintenance, I had learned something called restoration. So I went over to Tammy's house and I helped her suck and clean up her basement. And after doing that and getting it all clear, I was paid by the insurance company $12,000. That, my friend, was my turning point. I was still in the middle of my chaos. I was still staying in someone's basement. But here, I got my first big win. My win? Payment for what I could do. That led me to starting an emergency restoration company. I worked in restoration while I was in school, so I knew what to do. And immediately, I jumped right back into entrepreneur mindset. And what would I do? I would build a brand new company that 24 months later would cross 7 figures doing emergency restoration services. I was the same school teacher. I was the same guy who had authorized someone to deposit money that they ran off with. You see, another thing happened to me during this period. I regained my confidence. My confidence that was shattered, that was in the basement there, I regained my confidence. I was able to rebuild my finances. I was able to rebuild myself. I was able to rebuild my identity. And that shattered, betrayed person started feeling confident after a series of little incremental wins. I want this entire series to be just that. The opportunity to help you. If you're looking at this, the possibility exists that you've been betrayed. The possibility exists that you're feeling the trauma of some financial collapse. The possibility exists that you are going through some deep, dark betrayal. I went through it. I choose to build the MAR, a place where I can show entrepreneurs through structure, through system, and through practical steps, how they too can build their comeback, how they too can choose what's the step they wanted to do. You can go the court route and spend $25,000 like me. You can choose to rebuild and grow a $1 million plus a year company using the skills you know. Or you can do neither. You can sit right there and give up and throw in the towel and allow the betrayer to win. Wherever you decided, this is your journey. I want to give you some tools. I wanted to give you tools so you can win. The tools I wish I had. The tools I wish someone had recorded. The journey I wish that someone had told me what happened when you endure business betrayal. Because the truth is, I did not know that I too could have been going through this months later. I only thought that I was strong, that I was successful, that I had a thriving tutoring company, that I was a successful school teacher. I thought so. I honestly thought that until my entire life fell apart. And what I want to show you is how I shifted from being a defeated person to being today a thriving entrepreneur. I don't know where you are in your journey, but I wanted to give you tools so that you can decide which pathway you want to go in. There is a moment when you have to make that shift. You can shift from being the victim of your circumstance, or you can become the person who you wanted to be. I realized that I was down, but I wasn't out. I realized that I was scarred, but I wasn't defeated. I realized that I was scrapped, but I wasn't broken. And I patched together those bruised and those scarred and those broken pieces. And the person you're looking at today is more self-aware, is more composed, is more healthy, is more successful. And in the last 7 years, the simple little restoration company has done over $5 million in sales, providing emergency services. It started in a basement when I thought I was a complete failure. I'm not saying you're going to have a $5 million company. I'm not saying that you're going to grow $1 million a year. I'm saying the tools that I use, I'm willing to share them so that you can get up. You can rebuild your finances. You can rebuild your identity. And you too can pick up and move forward. I built this series called The Mar. I wanted The Mar to be for those whose lives and careers are shattered by betrayal, by bad fate, by fraud, and those who want to rebuild. That's all I am offering. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like. Subscribe to this channel because the next video here is going to show you how I made a $25,000 mistake become a $1 million success. Yeah, I want to show you it. I want to give you the journey. I'm going to be raw at times. It's going to be difficult at times, but I'm going to show you that going forward through this, you too can succeed. Hey, I'm just a school teacher. And because I like teaching, I know what I went through. I can teach somebody else from it. And they too can go through this. They can be successful. And they too can come out on the other side. Until the next video, this is Nigel saying bye.